In this video, I'm going to talk about how I put the action in action cameras. Okay, my name is Greg. For context, I'm a professional motorsport videographer. I travel all over the world shooting these race cars. I've worked with various brands and agencies and drivers and teams. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I'm putting action cameras at the forefront of my client work in 2025. I'm going to break this down into 3 parts: my cameras and settings, everything I use for mounting, and color grading and editing. Now first, let's talk about the camera. I'm using all DJI Action 5 cameras, and I have these tucked in a nice little small rig cage. Now, do you need this specific camera to make quality content? Absolutely not. Why am I using this camera instead of a GoPro or an Insta? For me, as somebody who only really does commercial work with these cameras, I wanted the absolute best quality possible for my clients. And after I tested everything, I sort of feel like the Action 5 is unmatched in that area. I've never been paid by DJI. I paid for these cameras myself. They've never sent me anything. I just objectively think these cameras are the best for what I need them for. And the short version reason for that is they have a big 1-inch sensor, the ability to shoot in D-Log, and I really enjoy the press-on ND filter system. Okay, now let's move on to camera settings. Now most of these settings are universal, and they would be the same settings that I would use if I was using a GoPro instead of the DJI. First things first, I'm shooting in 4:3 4K, and I do that because then I get to take advantage of the full sensor readout. Next, and it's very important, I'm shooting in 24 frames per second. I'll explain more on that in just a minute, but I only use 24 frames with these cameras. I have the stabilization turned completely off. I tend to like the shaky look, and also I don't want any sort of sensor crop, and I want the absolute full readout I can get, so I never run stabilization on these cameras. Next, I'll throw it in manual exposure mode so I have a lot more control over my image. Because I'm recording in that 24 frames per second, I put my shutter at 1/50. This is very important because it allows me to have a lot of realistic motion blur. I'm using the lowest ISO possible, which on this camera is 100, and I lock off my white balance to 5600 Kelvin. Now, if you really want to get the most out of your camera, this is the important part. For color, I use D-Log M and I turn the recovery mode off. For the image adjustments, I turn the sharpness all the way down. Now this is a theme for me in all of my cameras that I use, even my bigger cameras. I tend to think that the in-body sharpening is pretty horrible, and it also puts a lot more strain on your processor. So if you turn all this off, you have a lot more control on adding back as much as you need in post, so you can avoid that sort of digital look that the in-body stuff does. Slight pause for a second. If you find this helpful or you want to see more videos like this in the future, feel free to hit that like button. If there's something specific you want me to cover, feel free to comment down below. Now, once all the settings are dialed inside the camera, I have to actually set the exposure, and I do that with the DJI ND filters. I'll generally put the ND filter on that brings me back into an exposure range on the multimeter of 0.3 to 0.7, and I think that tends to work best with the D-Log. All right, now moving on to the how and where I mount these things. For the how, I use the Falcam F22 mounting system. I love this system. It's really well built, it's high-end aluminum, it's always felt very secure to me, and what I like most about it is this mounting system. Everything is universal, everything is modular. I change things out here and there. All of the arms, all of the clamps, all work together so I can sort of tailor the package to my needs. These arms slide right onto the suction cup or clamp, and the tolerance is really tight, so it feels extremely secure. For suction cups, I have various 6 and 3-inch pieces that I use. Because the camera's so light, I typically only use one if I feel like it's super secure, but with that small rig cage, I can mount another plate to it so that I can have 2 suction cups on the one camera. I'm using their arms, which is just a 1-button press on right onto the suction cup or the clamp. I have a little pouch that has various other F22 items, which include a roll bar mount, the action cam mounts, a swivel head mount, and various other pieces that help me get the job done. Now for the where I mount these, I tend to prioritize movement in everything that I do, and I think if you really want to extract the action out of these cameras, you have to put them in a situation where they're going to show a lot of movement. Sometimes on things where my subject is moving, like a pit crew member or an autograph pen, or other times fixed directly onto the car where maybe the car doesn't look like it's moving, but all the surroundings are moving really fast. Okay, now moving on to how I edit this stuff. The color is pretty straightforward. At the time I'm making this, DaVinci Resolve doesn't yet support D-Log M in the color space transform, so I've spent a lot of time dialing in the color for myself. And if you want a nice sort of easy route to get this color on your footage, you can download the LUT that I've made for both the Action 5 stuff and my Osmo Pocket 3 in the link below. Now in a perfect world, you're able to mount these cameras in a way that gives you a ton of action and speed and motion naturally. In my line of work, I'm not actually able to do that. We are not allowed to mount the cameras on the cars during active sessions, but I still want these shots, so I have to get a little bit creative. On rare occasions, we're pushing these cars out for different various photo opportunities, or maybe they're going to the tech area. So I'll find an interesting angle, I'll put the camera on the car, and then I have to add a little bit of movie magic in post. For example, this is what the final final clip would look like when it's all sped up. It has sound effects added, and I've added some camera shake. But this is the raw version of those same clips. It makes it a little bit harder, and ultimately if I was showing big extended versions of these clips, I think you would probably be able to tell. But because they're so short and they take up so little time in the edit, I think it's really hard to see it. As a note, I've used DaVinci Resolve's basic camera shake function. These are the base settings that I'm using, and you can pause the video if you want to copy those. And ultimately that's it. It's pretty simple stuff. I've made a big commitment to finding ways to use these in my commercial client content this year. I think using these action cameras in sports is an easy way to set yourself apart. It allows an entirely new perspective that would be impossible to get with a bigger camera. They're fast, they're lightweight, they're easy, and the image quality is so good nowadays, it's tough to even tell them apart from my $10,000 rig. If you like this video and you want to see more stuff like this, please hit the like button, and then after that's done, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to stay true to my mission to do more tutorial content this year. I intend to do an editing breakdown next, but until then, we'll see you in the next one.